Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. Today we have a very spicy one. This is an incredibly wild deck that harkens back to a very old combo deck from back in the day, and that deck is Trix, which used to use Illusions of Grandeur, where you would play this, gain your 20 life, give it to your opponent, eventually they couldn't play the upkeep and they would lose 20 life. We're not doing the exact same thing, we are using Illusions of Grandeur as a combo piece, so we are Trix at heart. So our combo for this is Sorin of House Markov. So this is a 2 mana 1/4, but if we've gained 3 or more life, in our post-combat main phase, we get to flip him. And the flip side has a -1 ability where we deal damage to equal the amount of life you've gained this turn to any single target. So, we play this, Sorin flips, we -1, Sorin deals 20 damage. And you know me, I love to deal 20 damage to my opponent. So that is kind of the combo there. We also have Gollum. So when Gollum deals combat damage to an opponent, in the game, as long as he's in play for you, at your end step, your opponent loses life equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. So this kind of does the same thing, where we get to dome our opponent. We've got some other lifelink things like Barrowgoyf and Metamorphosis Fanatic, which can also get back our Sorin to try and get this all working together. We've got a few Academy Rectors, which we can ping off using our Cabal Therapies or this Phyrexian Tower to go and find the illusions. Alternatively, we can get this control magic that also makes us the Monarch, or we can get this Cruel Reality, which slowly drains our opponent's permanence by making them sacrifice stuff and then making them lose life. We've tucked this into a combo shell, so we've got some Vexing Baubles to protect what we're doing, the Dark Rituals to pump it out quicker, along with some fast mana in Ancient Tomb and City of Traitors, and to Brainstorm for a little bit of fixing here and there. And that is basically the deck. It's really wild. I don't have any suggestions of how to improve this, because once the donor showed it to me, I was like, this is awesome, but also I have no idea how to approach this one. So we're just going to play it as is and see how it feels. Sideboard wise, we got some Graveyard Hate, we got some Hand Disruption, we have one more enchantment we can get with our Rector to make our opponent's creatures worse. We have a couple of Swords to Plowshares. We're not trying to remove our creatures that much, but you know, it's nice to have a couple in there. And then we have the Prismatic Endings here. This is just a nice flexible way that we can remove some stubborn permanents that we need to deal with, as well as it being a removal spell for some stuff. You could definitely tinker with these numbers, but I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to sideboard with this deck, given it's quite a tight-looking list. So yeah, this is going to be an absolutely wild ride. I hope that we get to do the thing at least once. That's all I ask for. So please like and subscribe and join me on this fantastical journey. Let's see if we can bring back a bit of the old Trix spirit from back in the day. And if you want to see my videos early, just generally on my channel, £1 a month, you can become a YouTube member and do exactly that. Alright, plug over and done with. Let's get our Trix on. Okay, our opening hand is interesting. We can just do a turn 2 Academy Rector and sacrifice it. That's not explicitly what we want to be doing with our deck, but it's a very powerful thing to do still. Maybe things change up and our game plan switches out a little. A Nethergoyf. The plan here is go and get a basic swamp so that we can get wastelanded, and then we'll fire off this Cabal Therapy at our opponent. I would like to name Force of Will here, because that's going to be the hardest one to play around. They did have a Force of Will, so it's always nice to hit off a blind Cabal Therapy. I'm kind of hoping they don't play this Null Spellbomb, but they might do now that they've seen this Cabal Therapy, because they can exile our Academy Rector with the trigger on the stack, and then we never get the card, so that's kind of awkward. There is the Null Spellbomb, sure. If they just cycle it for a card to grow their Nethergoyf, that's still really strong here, because it denies us the Cabal Therapy. Now, we can always just like hope our opponent doesn't understand how Null Spellbomb interacts with Academy Rector. What am I doing here? I kind of want to Brainstorm. I think it has to be a Tundra here. Annoying as that is. Let's see what we can do. Oops, all Sorins. Okay. So we put the Metamorphosis Fanatic on top here. And I think we're going to cast a Dark Ritual. And then Vexing Bauble into Sorin. They know that we've drawn this Vexing Bauble because we would have played it earlier rather than Cabal Therapy and Force of Will. Alright, Sorin. Let's play you. My opponent probably doesn't know what this does, because I certainly didn't when I looked at this for the first time. Or when this deck was sent to me for the first time. Because it's not a card I've seen in Legacy, so it's just completely not on my radar. We don't really have a good option with this Cabal Therapy right now. To kill our creature, we can Fanatic it back. Not that we really care, because we have all the Sorins you could possibly want. 2 mana 1/4 is a bit of a weird stat line for a black card, really, isn't it? There's that Ponder. So that's all of the cards that we knew from early on from our opponent, all gone. They shuffled off that Ponder. That's nice for us. They might just crack the Spellbomb to take the Cabal Therapy out. They're pushing our creature. Okay, so we can Fanatic this. That's going to force the spell bomb for no value on their part. Are you going to stop us getting our Sorin back? Or do you not care because it's not that exciting? It's actually worse for us losing the Cabal Therapy than anything else. We have another Sorin to draw through next turn as well. I will play this Ancient Tomb. If we need to crack a Vexing Bauble to draw a card, then that's the thing we're allowed to do. Just come in with the Tamiyo. They're keeping the Nethergoyf back. They don't want us to gain life. Interesting. I suppose if we just trade 4 life backwards and forwards, that doesn't really do very much. Whereas this way, it kind of keeps us at bay. Okay, so we have to draw another Sorin. Play this Sorin. We attack with the Metamorphosis Fanatic. We're always gaining 4 life here, which lets us flip the Sorin and kill the Psychic Frog. Looks ugly that we're just throwing this in there, but it's kind of the nature of what we're doing. So I take the obvious block here. Still gain the life. This flips. So we've gained 4 life. We get to -1 this and deal 4 to the Psychic Frog. They can only make it a 3/4. Now we still have another Sorin in the bank. This will also save us some life because they're going to probably attack this rather than our life total here, just to make sure we don't have a spooky Planeswalker kicking around. It's not anywhere near as good as Tamiyo as a Planeswalker, but hopefully we'll get to do the thing one time today. Right, we lose our Sorin. So Phyrexian Tower would be a great draw here, because we could play the Rector, sack it to the tower, play the Sorin and kill our opponent. It's a pretty good series of plays, provided we can draw the one of in our deck. Right, you can draw from a clue. Right, so I don't have any action on our turn because the Vexing Bauble was going to keep them at bay. An Ancient Tomb. I don't think that changes anything here, does it? Right, Academy Rector. You got to be good for us. The only way they're realistically going to be able to exile our Rector is via spell bombs here. So we can block and just go and get the Cruel Reality, whatever it's called. Yeah, okay, so they're not attacking with the Nethergoyf. Also, if we attack, they'll just let it through because there's only 1 damage. Our opponent's got some mana up, so they can hardcast a Daze and do all sorts of stuff here. What are we supposed to do? We're in a bit of a weird spot here. Opponent's drawn so many cards. Are we supposed to pop this clue, this bauble? What are we drawing to? Cabal Therapies or Illusions of Grandeur works here as well, actually, doesn't it? But the problem is it's not counterable at the moment, and if we crack the bauble, it will be. I think we just have to pass. I don't like this, so our opponent's just drawing an extra card a turn. And there will come a day when a Brainstorm flips his Tamiyo, and it changes what we have to do in this game. Right, tapping out for a frog. This gives us a window where there's no interaction our opponent has. Sure, in comes a Tamiyo. Are they going to play another land? No. This is the turn to draw it. Oh wow, we're going to get to do it here. By golly, we are. So we have to cast a Dark Ritual first to make sure we have enough black mana. Cabal Therapy our opponent here. I don't know what we're even looking for. Like, they're not going to have anything that's free. Faerie Macabre is the only thing I can think of. They're not going to have that in the main deck. Days they can't use, days they can't do. Masters. Okay, so none of this matters. Okay, so I will cast this guy. Oh, our opponent, we're about to do it. Oh, I'm so excited. Sacrifice this. We don't care that this is being countered, because that's not what this game is about. I guess we might as well extort for 1. This is going to be so sweet. Boom! 20 life. This might be one of the sweetest wins I've ever had. Oh my god. Oh, we'll screenshot that one because that has absolutely made my day. And I did say I hope we do it 1 time. So from here, everything else is gravy. Wow. That was someone else. So, what would I like for our opponent's deck? If we're trying to play fairly, which I'm not sure if we are, but if we want to play fairly, I think these are good levers to pull. If we want to try and force through our combo, I like the Duresses. What do I not like here? I think... are we... I'm not big into the Metamorphosis Fanatic post-board. I think they're just going to get gobbled up very easily by the Now spell bombs and stuff. So that's 2 cuts that are pretty easy to make. I think... I don't really like the Fealty of the Realm very much here. Cruel Reality is still fine. I don't mind that. So how many slots have we actually opened up for ourselves here? 3 slots. Are we messing with our opponent's stuff in terms of their creatures and other permanents, or are we messing with just creatures, or are we messing with their hand? Intriguing. I think Barrowgoyf is just going to be good here anyway. Maybe it is just the Duresses. Pave the way for our nonsense. We'll see how this fares. Like, we have Barrowgoyf, which is going to hang with all the creatures that you could possibly imagine. So there is that. This hand has significant problems with it. I don't think we want to keep this one. We've got 2 of the A, but none of the B. I think we will keep this one, though. Put back a land and go from there. Is it time to just start firing off Cabal Therapies straight up? Probably. Daze is actually more annoying for us than a Force of Will here, because I don't want our opponent to have... I want our opponent to have to spend 2 cards for one of our bad cards. Alright, swing and a miss. Psychic Frog would have been a fine name, though. Right, so they have a Null Spellbomb, so they obviously understand the interaction with the Academy Rector. There's a Wasteland. There is a Spellbomb. So they're more worried about us going off than getting anything in play, or they might not have had a land to play the Psychic Frog. So Fatal Push might not be doing anything here. What are we looking at? We can play this basic land. We can play Sorin and just start draining our opponent with like bad extort triggers. Maybe we'll get there. So we could have sacrificed our Sorin to take out their Psychic Frog. But our opponent is looking for black mana right now, and I don't really want to... Alright. Yeah, I don't really want to waste one of my few things that I've got going on here. Because we are threatening a potential kill next turn. If we draw Illusions of Grandeur, we can Dark Ritual into the island. Oh, and they Brainstorm locked. That's pretty exciting for us. We have got lots of spare lands to give. We'll do this one. Let's go for Gollum. I will extort because we haven't got anything else going on here. Extort is you just basically pay 1 and you get to drain life for 1 whenever you cast a spell. It's not very exciting. But it's what we have. And now our opponent is reading another card. Yeah, you read that one. Oh, wow. I'm getting dazed. That is shameful. Extort absolutely threw us out there. Yeah. Well, obviously Gollum isn't the most exciting card we can have in the world. But still, that is a little bit annoying. There comes that island again. You can waste down one of our lands that don't matter. We have many of them. We don't have a Surveil land. Let me just check the list. No Surveil lands. I think it's hard to have Surveil lands when we're trying to be a fast combo deck. A Brainstorm. I would very much like to cast this Brainstorm. I will not be extorting. Get out of here, Sorin. You've done enough damage for one day. Academy Rector is good. I quite like this Cabal Therapy as well. And this one out. Check this. Do we have a Plains? We don't have a Plains. So we probably want a... We want a white source. Do you want it to be white-black or white-blue? Probably white-black, I think. How am I going to extort here? Go on then. Let's fall into the trap again. Surely not another Daze. Let's name a Psychic Frog, because that is the scariest thing our opponent can have. Right, we've got the Psychic Frog. And how many cards have we got? 4. 1, 2, 3. If our opponent finds black mana, it's going to be a difficult time for us. Well, we kind of just have to live with it. Okay, our opponent has a Brainstorm, so this means we're not seeing an Orcish Bowmaster this turn, but we can see the Fatal Pushes come down if they find a black source. If they don't find a black source, though, then we're cooking with gas. We need to draw Illusions of Grandeur. There's a wasteland, we're going to lose our white source. But that means, to me, that my opponent does not have a black source. I think he would snap that off first. An Ancient Tomb. Sure, we'll play it out still. Because if we want to play a white spell next turn, we're going to need to have enough mana in play. If we want to play this Rector. We might be playing the Rector just to beat down. Alright, yep. I correctly deduced our opponent was Brainstorm locked again. Okay, Vexing Bauble. Do I want to extort? No. I think we're going to cycle this immediately. We just want to try and get something going while our opponent is messing around over there. Brainstorm before their Bowmasters comes out. Yes, please. No, I'm not going to extort. Been burnt too many times. Barrowgoyf is good. We can play the Barrowgoyf right now. So put back these. No, we have to keep the Ritual if we want to play the Barrowgoyf though. We put back land. But if I want to play around a Daze, we probably need to put back like land, Rector, and just shuffle the Rector away here. Dark Ritual. I'm not going to extort. Stop asking me. Don't want to get burned again. Especially not when we're trying to play something legitimately good. Now, part of the problem here is our opponent can just remove our Barrowgoyf with a fetch land into one of these Fatal Pushes. And we don't actually have anything going then. We can decide if we want to draw the Rector or not. Alright, our opponent's just scooping it up. So, we managed to get a match win. Now, the first game, we actually did our thing. And we managed to combo off. I think our opponent shouldn't have tapped out into our Bauble like they did when they obviously something weird going on. This game, they just got screwed. But I'll take it. We're playing a fun deck. We need all the help we can get. Alright, we're not going to get an 0-5. So, already it is a victory. Let's go to round 2. I don't think we can keep a 5-lander, so I'm going to mulligan this one. Brainstorm is a card that I will keep a lot of hands on the back of. I think we probably keep this one and ship away one of our ancient tombs. So we will have a decision to make next turn as to whether we play out the fetch land or the Underground Sea. The difference between them is the Underground Sea allows us to cast a Brainstorm right there and then still have the fetch land to shuffle it if we need to protect our hand from something or whatever. However, if our opponent has a Wasteland, that's obviously very bad for us. So one of those plays is better against Discard, one of them is better against Wasteland. If they have both, then obviously not so good. Okay, so now we get to do the best of both worlds, and we get to play this out, and we can Brainstorm if we need to, without losing access to a fetch land to shuffle. How worried about Orcish Bowmaster should I be? Uncertain. Ponder into Ponder. This kind of gives me more Doomsday vibes. Now, obviously, it could still be whatever. You know, there's a lot of blue-black decks in the format right now. Could be a Storm deck, but I am just getting some combo vibes. We don't have a Surveil land, so we're not going to fetch anything at end step. Let's see what we draw. An Island. That was the card I wanted to fetch, actually. Let's see if they want to mess with us at all. They do not. I'll get Underground Sea as well. Keeps information concealed. I'm going to Brainstorm now, just in case they are a fair deck with Orcish Bowmasters. I like the Vexing Bauble here. Obviously got a lot of lands I don't really want to have right now. Let me put these two back. Crack this. We'll go and get a Tundra's probably fine. Let's go for this Bauble. If they're a combo deck, this will work quite nicely. If they are a sort of mid-rangey, tempo-y style deck, then this will shut off some stuff that we need to worry about. Right, we've got a fetch being cracked from our opponent in our end step. This is going to be a Surveil land, I suspect. No, they might have an Entomb here. They do have an Entomb. Okay. Our opponent is going to make a large monster. So if they make an Archon... Okay, if they found the Attractor, sorry. If they would have made the Archon, then we'd have been in a better spot because we could have been able to play the Rector into it and it can't attack without our Rector getting something useful. Alright. Now, one useful thing we have right now is our opponent doesn't have the ability to play any of their 0 mana spells because of the Vexing Bauble. So this might not be the worst thing in the world for us. Polluted Delta, that's gone as well now, so we can Animate Dead. There's a Thoughtseize over there. Animate Dead, Murktide Regent, Entomb. Do I want this to hit me and show them the Rector? I guess so. Cruel Reality. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are 1 mana off of playing this. So I guess we try and hold out for another turn. Right, 7 to the face. Good old Atraxa. Just being the biggest, scariest thing to reanimate still. Okay, so we're going to go to 9 to play this Cruel Reality. I say you tap low enough so you don't get to interact with us. They're going to Animate Dead our Academy Rector. No, they're just going to play a Murktide Regent. How big is this? 8. Okay, so we got some game here. Illusions of Grandeur. Maybe we find a way with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Direct Ritual. So this will make them lose a creature in their upkeep. If we find Sorin, we might be able to win next turn. So there's still some life in this game yet. Are they going to entomb another monster and reanimate it? They are. So they lose an Atraxa, they attack. Yeah, they just have it here if they have any brain power at all. Yeah, they're just going to reanimate the Archon. That was unfortunate. We need them to have like drawn it or something. Okay, so we want the Graveyard Hate here. And I think the Duresses also look pretty good. This is probably a matchup where the Overwhelming Splendor looks pretty good. Does it look better than Fealty to the Realm? Maybe, like, Fealty to the Realm scares me a little bit. I'm kind of worried about introducing the Monarch to a game. So there's a bunch of cards that we're interested in. I don't like the Fanatic here. That's something our opponent can reanimate. I don't really like the Barrowgoyf that much in this matchup. Because our opponent's going to have them as well, and we're just going to be Ships of the Night. This is kind of part of what our deck does. Maybe it's the Rectors that go, and they're going to have all their Graveyard Hate, so they don't work. But if we're boarding out Rectors, and we have to board out these two, and that leaves us with only 1 card to cut here to get all of these things in. That doesn't actually look too bad to me. What would I cut? I think it's probably a Barrowgoyf. I think combo is the way forward here. Alright. Maybe it's a Gollum, but I'd rather try an Illusions of Grandeur, my opponent. Because, let's face it, that's what everyone who is watching this video is here for. So, this hand has some problems. So, the fetch land being the thing we need to use to get the land for the Brainstorm is not where I want to be. Let's mulligan. We've got some powerful... Oh, baby. Yes. Snap that off. Okay, so we've probably been off Underground Sea here. Well, well, well. This is very much what I want to be doing. This is a turn 3, potentially. Are you going to make me... Okay, you're going to make me Brainstorm to hide my hand. Sure, sure, sure. Let's get the... it has to be the Underground Sea, actually, doesn't it? Let's go for the Brainstorm here. I will put this on top, and then I'll put this on top. Read him and weep, opponent. I don't think trying to get to 6 mana and do it is necessarily the way forward. It could be, though. If we go, like, this turn, then that next turn, and then... No, I think we'll just do it this way and play around days is probably the best we can do. Here's a bad card that you've never seen before, that you clearly don't care about, opponent. On the one hand, it was nice that our Brainstorm stops our opponent from taking any of our cards. On the other hand, it would be nice if we had some cards that did something. Just play a Ponder or something, opponent. That's not a Ponder. I do think we have to go for it. We have to send it here, and we can play it around a day, so we're going to do that. Force of Will and Fatal Push both beat us here. Oh, wow, we're doing it. Or they're going to Fatal Push us. I don't even want to attack just in case something weird happens. So it's a flip. -1 to the dome! Oh, beautiful. This is certainly a league where I'm recording some screenshots. That is sweet. Okay. Let's go back in again. I like how he sideboard, to be honest. I'll be honest, this deck is feeling a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting this to be a total meme and probably not hang that well. But, yeah. Okay. Turn 2 Barrowgoyf is quite a drug, isn't it? Obviously, it's not the most powerful thing that early in the game, but if we can just get it down and start turning it sideways, it's going to be at least a 1-2 on attacks. We've got the graveyard covered with the Macabre. I'm still going to play this out rather than the island because I want to be able to use our City of Traitors to just play a Barrowgoyf next turn if that's the thing I want to be doing. Right, just another City Sewers rather than an Entomb. They're kept on top. We don't have any Surveil lands. I think I kind of like having the Brainstorm here more than anything else, actually. We could... I don't want to Brainstorm if they've boarded in a Orcish Bowmasters, if they just want to ignore the graveyard aspect. No, they're really just passing again. Just look at each other for a bit. An Ancient Tomb. How do I feel about this Ancient Tomb? Let's get this Barrowgoyf down. We've got 2 of these. We can grow it in instant speed with our Fairy, but I'd rather keep our Fairy back for stopping our opponent's stuff. So we're playing this around a days. Force of Will, pitching a Brainstorm. Sure. A 2-for-1 has been achieved. We've got a lot of cards in hand to our opponent's 4 cards. We've got an additional 50% more cards in our hand. And reanimate on our Barrowgoyf. We have to say no to this one. Let's get rid of their Force of Will and our Barrowgoyf. Not today, opponent. Another Barrowgoyf, you say? Part of me wants to try and Brainstorm, but I'm so reluctant. I just don't want to get jammed up by our Bowmasters when our creatures aren't necessarily the largest they could be. I'll play out this Scrubland. I could just play out this Gollum, but it's into a daze and it's not necessary. Like, obviously the Gollum and the Barrowgoyf is part of what we're trying to achieve here. Metamorphosis Fanatic. Are they going to cast an Entomb in response? If it's just a 4-4, that's fine. Not fine, but I'll take it. So now we can Brainstorm in peace. Because we have a lot of stuff we want to deploy, I will do it on our opponent's end step. I like the... I don't really like the... let's have a look. 1, 2, 3... I don't really want the tower, I don't think. So we're going to mill over the tower here. I would like to Duress my opponent here. See what they're working with. Consign to memory, and Fatal Push. So they can consign the Barrowgoyf trigger if they want. That's not the end of the world for us, is it? Let's go to attacks with the Barrowgoyf. It's the biggest thing on the board. Would you like to consign my trigger? They would. Alright, that's some more card advantage for us. So would I rather get this Gollum in or this Barrowgoyf? So there's a correct answer, which is the Barrowgoyf. But there is the we want to play Gollum out line. I think we're just going to get this Barrowgoyf down. I'm sorry, everyone. It's a little boring. But if our deck turns out to be like actually pretty decent, we can put a nice win on the board here. And we can also make better informed decisions about how to improve the deck at the end of the video. Okay, so we knew what they drew and it was bad. So we didn't get to mill over the tower because of the consigned to memory. Alright, this is a lot of Barrowgoyf in. Oh wow, they're into the bus now. So they can reanimate this later, so having this in the graveyard isn't the worst for them. I would like to mill 4 cards, please. I'll take this Sorin. I will deploy the Gollum now. I know you're all waiting for it. I don't think I want to play the Sorin out yet. I think I'm going to play that next turn. We have not dealt combat damage with the Sorin, so we don't just get to dome our opponent for another 4 or 5 or whatever. We do have a Cabal Therapy if we want to reach for it, but I don't think it's necessary. Oh wow, we managed to get 2 games in a row against like the best decks. The margin between genius and madness is an incredibly thin one, and we are skirting right on that razor today. Okay, 2-0. Let's go to round 3. Okay, this is the turn to get some kind of big enchantment. Well, I'll keep it. Ancient Tomb. Alright, we're one of those players, are we? Then we go Cabal Therapy. We're going to name the One Ring. A bunch of Eldrazi goodies. Ivugan. I guess we're going for the Cruel Reality, whatever it's called. Now, the issue here is our opponent can Kozilek's Command this out of our graveyard. Oh, this is the... I guess they can hit the Cabal Therapy out the graveyard. It's still not as good, though. Like, you could have got us to... I guess they don't want to lose something in their hand. Okay, well, we have a creature that is more than happy to chump block now. There's a Yavimaya. We're going to see the Microspawn. And I think this might be where our journey takes a turn for the worse. Good old Sorin Microspawn. What a friend it is. Just taking us back to no lands. So, Phyrexian Tower probably wins us the game here. Oh, why do they have to blow up both of our lands? Well, they're probably not attacking. Although they can attack and then just Kozilek's Command when it's in the graveyard. Which is awkward. Chance to avoid X equals 1. Fine. We can still cast a Cabal Therapy and then flash it back. That still works. But they're holding up a Kozilek's Command, which can still exile our Rector. I'm surprised they're not attacking here. Barrowgoyf, that does nothing. Oh, they can just attack and then use the command. This means they maybe don't understand that you can exile the Rector with the trigger on the stack, and I don't get the permanence, so maybe they don't know that. A Glaring Fleshraker. Okay, this is almost certainly lights out for us. Be my guest opponent. Make all the scary things. So now getting some like Cruel Reality thing does nothing here, right? Because our opponent just has all the spawns for days. So how are we supposed to win? If we need to have exactly Phyrexian Tower and Sorin. We don't have a lot of time to do that. They've seen our hand. This doesn't really tell them much. I think we'll just scoop it up here. We have to draw runner. I guess we could take it one more draw step, but I think we're still dead there anyway. So, what would I like here? I don't know if our opponent's going to be running Leyline is the problem. Because if they're running Leyline, this sort of stuff feels pretty bad. Don't really like the Fanatic. I do like the Barrowgoyf, because they can trade with a lot of our opponent's stuff. The Vexing Baubles do seem bad. And that leaves us at 61. So I guess we are keeping the Rector package in. We need to find a little trim somewhere here. What should that be, though? Gollum is always going to be able to attack. Do we have time to brainstorm in a matchup like this? Uncertain. Let's try it without a brainstorm. Could be a bit sacrilegious though. Alright. If we have all these 1-drops and our opponent just challenges for 1 and we don't have the ending, we're going to feel pretty bad. This doesn't feel like a great place for us to be though. Like, we can certainly go over what our opponent's doing, but they have some really powerful disruption. Like, you saw what they did on turn 3, was it? Where they blew up both of our lands. So, we can Cabal Therapy our opponents, naming Chalice of the Void most likely. And then we can try and brainstorm into something else. Alright, I can live with this one. They start with the Land of the Void. That's not the worst thing in the world for us. Like, it's going to make our therapies worse. But the second one is always going to hit because we're going to have information from the first. We'll definitely name Chalice given our hand. Chalice of the Void, please. Swing and a miss. But their hand looks really bad. Why would you keep that hand? Surely you just mulligan and get something that just kicks our face in. Now, they might still win off of this. Have they drawn a thing? They didn't draw a thing. So we can strip this Kozilek's Command if we want to. We can force them to use their Petal, though, so I don't mind that. Like, you get to cantrip with the Kozilek's Command here, but it's costing you a Lotus Petal. Let's see where they put this. One on the top. What would I keep if I were them? So Microspawn is kind of annoying. Thought Knot Seer as well. Oh, we got the Cold Read. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 4 can cross off. So we took 1, 2, 3, 4. They do have the 1 ring they can play next turn though. So I guess that means we are cracking this for... If we crack it for a land, they just wasteland us, don't they? Okay, I think we're not going to Cabal Therapy this. City of Traitors into the 1 ring. Good cards are good. We heard it here first. I think we're brainstorming in our turn rather than our opponent's. So many brainstorms. Barrowgoyf very good here. Pending might be useful. I don't think we want the Cabal Therapy anymore. That is a big old boy. Look at that. They're all 6-7 already. So we can, so they can block and they can sack their spawn so we don't gain any life. That's certainly irritating, but that's the thing they're allowed to do. Maybe we're supposed to have hid the Sorin on top in case they find a Thought-Knot Seer. That makes a little bit more sense. Alright, a Chalice for 1, that's fine. So we have the Pending on top. I didn't want to waste hand us off of more mana. The fact that we don't get to cast this Pending is really annoying, actually. Let's get this Sorin in. We need to get this down first so that when we attack, this flips in the beginning of our next thing. So this forces them into the chump with the spawn. Now, they might not, but I would highly take this chump if I were them. We know they got 2 lands in hand at least. Yeah, this is an easy block and sack. Do they have a Kozilek's Command to follow up with to really punish? And just get the sweetest exchange possible. Yep, that's pretty gross. Oh dear, oh dear. Things are not going well for Temple. So they got all the cards in the world here. Sure, they're going to take our Pendings. It's the only thing we can cast, so we can't get out for any of these Chalice. The next card on top of our library is a Cabal Therapy, if I remember rightly. Oh, and a Kozilek's Command. Yeah, I don't want to play this game anymore. Yeah, that felt pretty miserable. We've been doing quite well so far. The luck has been on our side. Feels like it ran out there. Let's see if we can get some of it back for round 4. I cannot keep this hand for this round. Let's mulligan this one. We can play a Sorin, then bring back the Fanatic, and then flip the Sorin. I guess this is an interesting one. I didn't say good. I said interesting. A mountain. What flavour of mountain are we looking at here? Kind of want to just play the Dark Ritual into Sorin, because if they're a Chalice deck, they could play a Chalice on turn 2. And that jams up. But you don't see a lot of Chalices these days. Alright, I'm going to just play out the Swamp and pass. Then next turn we can do Sorin. If we need to, we can just hardcast the Fanatic the turn after. They're on red removal. Alright, so they're on Painter. Sure, there's a Welder. Vexing Bauble isn't really where I want to be, but I'll take it, I guess. Let's get that Bauble in. So this might shut off some of our opponents' fast mana. They might have like a copy of a Mox or a couple of Lotus Petals. Although Painter decks these days tend to run their own Baubles, so it's not likely to do that much for us. So the Metamorphosis Fanatic, just being a 4/4 lifelink, can do some real work with the Sorin. It can flip it for us, and then we can get damages going. Just going to be Fable, it's Bombardiers. Alright, so we might end up with the exact play that I thought we might. Are they going to throw the Welder? Actually, the Welder doesn't even kill our Sorin, does it? Because it's a 1/4 in black for 2 mana for some reason. Just a very weird body for that mana cost, in my opinion. I don't know if there's some lore explanation. I'm not the lore guy. Fealty to the Realm. Well, aren't you a hot pile of uncastable? So this is 3 mana. 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can afford to crack the Bauble first. See if we find anything that changes our mind. Not particularly. I want to just have a big lifelinking guy. And then it's just going to eat it if they play another 3-drop. Well, you got to do something sometimes, haven't you? Okay, let's Dark Ritual. No, Sorin, we're not going to pay for you. It's just 4 mana. Have we played a land yet this turn? I don't think we've played a land, so we could extort here. And then we'd have 3, 4, 5, and then the land will be 6. We're just playing a very overcosted 4/4 lifelinker. We can't extort, so don't even ask me, Sorin. We can double block the Bombardiers if we want to. I don't hate that as a strategy. Maybe it keeps it back. I think that's better than getting in 1 point of damage here. That's not going to do anything. But if we double block, our opponent does get the opportunity to kill either of our creatures. Fable the Mirror Breaker. So this is not a thing they can fling, because the things they get out of it are 0 mana. So they can fling for 2. This they can fling for 3. Right, Bombardiers staying home. Good news for us. Another Sorin, you say? Not the most exciting, is it? Let's attack with our Metamorphosis Fanatic. So we might just get Painter killed next turn, and you know, there's not really much we get to do about it. So we can take out those Bombardiers. Play the Sorin. I guess we could have extorted, but it would have cost us 2 life. It's a case of if we want to spend 1 of our lives to reduce our opponent's life by 1. We now have 2 instances of extort, which is weird. So this construct's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it'll be 6 after their next turn, with just what they have on board right now, or 7 potentially. Agatha's Soul Cauldron. So this can exile the Bombardiers and give the Shaman... Ah, so they can attack with both their creatures here. And they can just put the Devourer onto one of them and kill us. Yep, if they attack both creatures, we lose. They have to attack us with both creatures. Yeah, that'll do. I don't need to see anymore. Okay, So we have got some useful removal spells here. I'm not a big fan of the graveyard plan here. So I'm tempted to take out the Rectors and all of this. I really don't like Fealty to the Realm. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to like it more than I do. So we have all of these. We get to play one more fair thing. We could play a one-off Faerie Macabre just to mess with our opponent's graveyard at clutch moment. Actually, I don't really like these baubles either. Let's get rid of the baubles. And that gives us 3 fairies and 2 fanatic. If we want them. Seems reasonable. Like, we could keep the Rector plan in. So instead of having this, we could have Rector shenanigans. So removing abilities of all our opponent's creatures might be relatively... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Alright. Well, let's keep the fun stuff in, because that's what we're here for today. Well, well, well. I'll keep this one. I think the Broadside Bombardier's painted deck is pretty sweet, though. So this is a turn 3 if we want it. And there's not another way we can puzzle out ourselves out of this one, is there? Okay. So... I probably want to get a Swamp here. And I think we're going to go Cabal Therapy. This is probably going to be for Goblin Engineer. Is it Goblin Engineer or is it Favor the Mirror Breaker? It's one of the two. Maybe it's Favor the Mirror Breaker. We hit. Excellent. Okay, so they have a Faerie Macabre, so the Rector plan is unlikely to work here. Unless we can find another creature that we want to use first. They can also play Pithing Needle on Sorin, so it never gets to do the Sorin thing. Summon Spirit Guide into Soul Cauldron. Yeah, maybe I should have kept the graveyard plan in. There's a lot of nonsense for us to get through. Goodbye, Cabal Therapy. There is the Sorin. We can at least force them to use the Cauldron on our Rector, I suppose. I mean, just hold it back and block with it. Yeah, I kind of wish we took out the graveyard stuff a bit now. Just going to end the backside. Ravenous Neonate. You got it, opponent. Alright, we'll just continue doing this. Maybe they don't know the trick of exiling the Rector. There's another Welder. That doesn't do anything just yet. A Cabal Therapy, though. That is interesting. I'll even extort this one. How about that deck? That'll make you happy. If they know how their Soul Cauldron works, then that sucks for us. I'm going to assume that our opponent does. Just attack for 1. So our opponent is just drawing off the top. But if they draw a Goblin Engineer, they do just automatically win the game. Painter's Servant. Okay. That turns on their blasters, removal spells. A Barrowgoyf. 1, 2, 3. So it's still worth attacking with the Sorin. It's worth attacking with the Sorin and the Rector. They can block the Rector. And we can put them to the test to see if they know the thing. But I think we're just going to attack with the Sorin, get our 1 point of lifelink. We can put the counters on this, but then that frees up our Rector. Do some more Sorining. Get that sweet, sweet extortion going. And I will play out this land. That's our first blue source. Maybe we're supposed to hold it in case it gets blasted. But we don't really want to put in our Illusions of Grandeur anyway. I know, maybe we're supposed to hold that Underground Sea. Alright. Because we have a second Sorin, I don't even care if the first one dies. Prismatic Ending, you say? Prismatic Ending is an interesting one, isn't it? So we could take out this Soul Cauldron, or we could take out this Pithing Needle. That's an interesting trade-off here, isn't it? So if we hit this Pithing Needle and we pay the 1, we extort for 1, this hits for 2, that will flip our Sorin, then we can start doming stuff, but we have to dome. We have to get rid of the Soul Cauldron if we want to be doing anything here. Yeah, I think we just have to get rid of the Soul Cauldron. Like, Goblin Engineer is very lethal either way here. They have 2 things that will just combo with it. Yep, so they're going to grow one of their guys. Do I want an instant in my graveyard here? So they would have to put the Painter under the bus, but they can get the Painter back with the Sorin anyway. Oh, sorry, not with the Sorin, with the Welder. Okay, I think this is fine to attack. This is fine to attack as well at this point. Just try and get those damages in. Oh no, we don't have to order blockers anymore, do we? Due to the rule change. So we cleared one of the Welders. So next turn we can play out the Sorin. Oh, another Cauldron. What are you doing to me, opponent? So they can remove enchantment. So we have 1, 2, 3 if we play the Ritual here. I think we do want to play the Ritual. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can play out the Sorin first. And get a little extort off. So we're tapping this because we're unlikely to want to cast a Brainstorm, even if we draw one. Sorry, we can't draw a Brainstorm here, actually. No, we can only get creatures, right? Ignore me. But yeah, we're attacking with this and with this. And then we just go for the beatdown plan. Looking okay, but it can obviously just pop off at a moment's notice. Okay, so they know how the Soul Corder interaction works. I'm supposed to stack these the other way around, but they're going to remove the Rector anyway. Yeah, so they do know how it works. Sure. Another Sorin. My cup runneth over. And this triggered ability doesn't work because we don't get to exile it, which is part of the thing. So this Sorin will blink. We don't get to do anything because of our opponent's Pithing Needle. Not a great turn. Maybe we keep the Rector back on blocks there instead of attacking with it. But we have 10 power of Death Touch, Lifelink. So I think we are okay here. Something's got to give. They can probably shrink our guy by 1. But they're probably scared of some other stuff happening. Yes, let's mill some cards. What are you going to find for me? A Gollum. I'll take a Gollum. Let's get the Sorin in first. So we pay for this. In comes a Sorin. Get rid of the Welder, sure. Play a land out. Cast our Gollum here. We get to extort one time. We don't have the mana to extort the next time, though. Okay, our opponent's on 1. We lose to Grindstone off the top. We don't lose to Phyrexian Devourer, though. We lose to Goblin Engineer. There's a lot of draws beat us here. Like, not a lot. It's like 6-ish. Alright. This graveyard plan did not feel good. So if we board out our graveyard stuff, and that's all of it, isn't it? Yep. And then we can just board in some... What would I like here? Probably just fairies, isn't it? Like, the Fanatic is fine here as well. I'm okay with this selection of things. I'm actually fine just playing the fairies at 2/2 flyer half the time as well. Alright, we'll try this. So they're going to have to like keep an eye on our graveyard at all times. And we're just going to be like, well, we don't care about that. Blind hitting on that Fable in the first turn with our Cabal Therapy was quite tasty though. So we could like just ramp out a Barrowgoyf. But what does that realistically do for us? We're on the draw though, so we can find another land. How many lands are we playing? 23. That's a 1 in 3. Better than 1 in 3 chance. We only really need 1 land to go. How am I talking myself into keeping this one? I think we can do better than having this Illusions of Grandeur in our hand right now. Yeah, go on then. We're going to do better, hopefully. Okay, we have some removal. I guess we don't need this Dark Ritual. If we've got this Illusions of Grandeur, we can cast it off of the City of Traitors here. There's a mountain. There's a Welder. We don't need to kill this immediately. Phyrexian Tower, not the best. Grindstone. Yeah, Grindstone good. Soga Lantern, we don't care about the lanterns, that's good. They can pop this whenever they want though. So they can pop this and Welder it back. So I think we have to kill the Welder here. Oh no, the Welder's attacking. Sure, that's fine. This way we can hold at the plow. I don't want to lose the game next turn. Maybe this is sheepish. We're just going to get rid of this. We can plow our opponent's creature if we need to. Not playing anything at 3 mana. They might just be doing something in their second main phase. Yeah, here it is. A Blood Moon. How do I feel about Blood Moon? We do have a basic island. This Blood Moon is gonna kick our ass. We can't get a white source, which is our removal colour, which is awkward here. Let's get the swamp here. Barrowgoyf. Just get cracking. It was good enough last game. We're close to doing the combo. Wanted to do the combo today, but... Or in this game, rather, but... Wasn't quite there for us. Short, Mages of the Moon. So they can double block here if they want to. How do I feel about that? I'm okay with killing both of these creatures and then having nothing else to go on afterwards. The problem here as well, they can fire off the Soulguide Lantern that leaves us just a 1-2. So I think we are on the playing the Sorin. Like at any point we could draw our 1-of basic island and win the game. If we had an instant, then maybe we could do it. Like an instant we could cast, but we're not going to be able to cast this Plow underneath the Blood Moon. Like Goblin Engineer is obviously going to be very strong here. But they will buff our Barrowgoyf most likely by doing this. So if they put an artifact in, then the Soulguide Lantern cracking doesn't affect. The Chaos Defiler, they're just bringing this straight back in, are they? Yep. Not having the Faerie Macabre right now feels pretty bad. We're going to get rid of our Barrowgoyf presumably here, because that's the actual scary threat. We don't know what they're getting rid of until this resolves, because it's just to choose. Okay. So if we draw an island now, we win the game. Island, island, island. Come on. Manifest. Ah, we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. Is there anything we get to do here? So what they're going to do is they're just going to welder out all of our... They're just going to weld the Chaos Defiler back and forth until we have no permanents left. And I don't need to tell you, that's bad news for us. We missed our little window to draw that island, I think. We could save 4 damage here, or 5 damage in fact. Another engineer. So they can get something good. And then when they're welding out the Defiler, actually getting value every time. So I wonder what that could be. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Drawing some cards. Killing our permanents. I don't think we can come back from this. I'll show them my my spicy Illusions of Grandeur. Yeah, so we lost to the Blood Moon there. It was unfortunate. Right, 4 rounds in. We're still 2-2. We beat the best deck, like the blue-black decks. So maybe we can try it again for the last round. Let's see if we can put a positive on the board. This hand is rubbish. I don't like it at all. That's mulligan. This hand, though. It has a little bit of trouble with the old wasteland, doesn't it? What are we binning off here? I think it's the Gollum. I think we're just going to get a basic swamp here. So at least we can still cast some spells. Let's just cast a Vexing Bauble this turn. So next time we can play Sorin with a mana floating. Maybe that'll be handy. Find out soon enough. Underground Sea. I would like to save our blue source because I don't want to get wasted off of colours. So I'm okay to take this 1 damage to make this Sorin. It's unlikely to have something that gets rid of our Bauble and then cast a Daze. But I would just rather sequence my lands to have the Ancient Tomb in play now rather than the Underground Sea. So if we find a white source next turn, we can play the Rector without needing the Dark Ritual. A Brainstorm from our opponents. That's not an Entomb, so that's good news. Right, our opponent's cracking Polluted Delta. I suspect we're going to see a Psychic Frog. There it is. Okay. White source. A white source. Okay. I'm down to clown with this. We don't have a way of sacrificing our creature yet. I'm sure we'll find one eventually. So we don't want a Tundra here. So an annoying part about this is Sorin doesn't flip on your opponent's turn in a way that's going to matter. So it's an awkward one. Now we can just put Cruel Reality in or whatever it's called and our opponent will lose to that. We don't need to Illusions of Grandeur them. But you know I want to. Alright, the frog is in the sky. Dark Ritual, okay, we're doomsdaying. Okay, so they're going to doomsday, immediately draw the card, and probably win the game this turn. That is a little sad. That was a very quick doomsday pile as well. They've got loads of life to work with. They've got the mana already. I know we can't do anything because of our own Bauble. Yep, in comes the frog. They're going to cycle for a bunch of stuff. And they're going to put this Dazzle's Oracle on a stack. Okay, so Doomsday. Duresses are good. Prismatic Endings and Plows are also good for their Tameo and Frogs. What do I not like here? How do I feel about the Graveyard package? Once again, I am kind of just wanting the Fair package over the Graveyard package a lot of the time. So you still need to cut 3 more cards. Cabal Therapy. Let's just cut some Cabal Therapies. The Duresses are going to be better. Play something a bit fairer looking. Guess you could trim one of the Therapies and just leave in a single Fanatic. Like, obviously it's harder for us to get the illusions, but we need to just stop what our opponent's doing. Try and win with leftover bits for the most part. Okay. Keep this. We're not going to get Wasteland in this matchup as well. Get the Bauble down. So we just need to find a Gollum. And then we can win. Or a Sorin, obviously. If our opponent just Dark Ritual Doomsdays now, then I'm not going to have a great time. Thought Seize. Yep, not a fan of that one. Goodbye, Illusions of Grandeur. It's the only card we have that does anything weird. I can take the Brainstorm. The Brainstorm is objectively the most powerful card in our hand. I don't know. You see the weird card, you take the weird card. Tried and tested method against weird brews. I took the Brainstorm. It is the most objectively powerful card. A very reasonable take. Pending, I don't hate that. We're going to play and cycle a Bauble. Another Dark Ritual. It's just saying we got mana. We just don't have anything to do with it. Opponent's cracking the Polluted Delta. Psychic Frog. Now, if we can find a white source, this won't be a problem. That's quite the if. Well, we are so close to what we need here. We just need another black source. It's 3 mana, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we just need another black source. I think I'm just going to pass a turn, make our opponent think we have nothing, make them tap out so that our Vexing Bauble protects us, and then just go for the win if we find a black source. Basically, all the lands in our deck play here, right? Apart from... No, any of the colourless lands don't work, actually. Doomsday. Are we just dead right now? They are tapping out for this, so it might be a pass the turn pile. They need to have a Lion's Eye Diamond or a Cycler in their hand right now. Very quick pile. Not feeling good about this one. Oh, I can't wait to see Psychic Frog banned. We've got this lovely Eternal Weekend that we have to sit through first. Alright, am I dead this turn, or is this a pass a turn pile? Oh my god, it's pass turn pile. Come on. Any black source. Any black source. Or a blue source. Land, land, land. Oh. I guess we have to crack the bauble. Oh, we're definitely dead next turn. Okay. I'll show my opponent my hags. Sweet. Alright, so we finished with a 2-3, which is pretty much where I would have expected this list to go. When I first saw this one and was like, I have to play this, I was thinking, okay, I would like to avoid getting the 05. And we certainly did that. And the 2 rounds we won looked pretty good. And it felt like there was something in this deck. It didn't feel like we were just sort of doing nothing. It felt like we had a real game plan that was actually pretty strong and could just windmill people out of nowhere. There were some issues with the deck, I think, though. So I think what I'm not a big fan of is the Rector pack. I think the Rector package here is... it's forcing us into another colour. So we're playing 5 colourless lands and a 3-colour mana base. And we lost a game because of that. If we were a 2-colour mana base where we would have been able to just fetch our colours, maybe that game goes entirely differently against the Blood Moon. Maybe we still get jammed up where we just have like Underground Sea instead of a Tundra there and we still end up not casting our mana. But maybe it's different. Also, if we were to go just 2 colours, we would have access to some tasty Surveil land action. So I think it would make our mana base a little bit tighter. I don't think we need to be running white. Obviously, our sideboard is very heavily into white, but we could certainly address that in other ways. Obviously, I liked the main combo here. I don't think Metamorphosis Fanatic was all that either. Like, I kind of understand why it's here, because it allows us to like get it back with a Barrowgoyf and play it and get back something else. Or, you know, we can just have this kind of like additional copies of Sorin. But we have Gollum, which is already an additional copy of Sorin, so we can just play more of that if that's the effect we want. And if we cut this sort of stuff, we don't have to do Cabal Therapies anymore, and we can run good disruption like Thoughtseize. So all of a sudden, we're just running in cards that are just better on their own merit. And we never really got to do the, oh, we have an Rector. Actually, no. The one time we did the Rector and sacked it, it wasn't good enough. No, actually, no, we hardcast Cruel Reality, didn't we? But yeah, so the Rector was just never good enough. There's too much graveyard here right now. It's just catching all the strays in the world. So I think we can lean away from the graveyard. We can get ourselves 4 Ponders. That's going to help a lot here. We get a better mana base. Maybe a Surveil land in there as well. We get some Thoughtseizes. And that gives us 3 more slots to fiddle with in here. So we can have more copies of Gollum. We can have some kind of tutor effect. So the Profane tutor, I think it is. We can have that if we wanted to. There's a bunch of options of what we could do to change it. But I think I would take these slots and replace them with some generically good spells that help us dig. Like, this is kind of making us want the Illusions of Grandeur as a thing. But also, we do have the Barrowgoyf, which hits hard. And if we're pondering and brainstorming, then our Barrowgoyfs are going to be larger. So you kind of want to be a cantripping deck to play with the Barrowgoyfs to get the most out of them. So I think adding in the Ponders here would help. And adding in the Thoughtseizes would also help. And that would give us a pretty powerful opener to manipulate our opponent's hand with. We probably need the last 3 cards here to be something that finds Illusions of Grandeur. Because that is, you know, the big thing that we're doing. There's another version of Illusions of Grandeur, I think, that only does 10 life. I can't remember how much it costs, though. That might even be playable here. Just, okay, we gain 10 life, we get to dome our opponent for 10. That can sometimes be enough to win some games. Obviously, it is not the same thing. But if we're beating down with a Barrowgoyf, maybe that could end up being enough. Uncertain. Something to think about. But this deck felt like it was actually doing some cool stuff. And probably one of the favourite screenshots I've ever had playing Magic was in this deck. It's sweet. Old school Illusions of Grandeur, loving it. Like, there is an option where maybe we play Donate in our deck as well. Maybe we just do an Illusions of Grandeur Donate style strategy, but that is a lot of mana to invest in this sort of thing. And it kind of has to be all at once, or we have to pay 2 on the next turn. So I guess we can play this on 4, and then on 5 we can cumulative upkeep and then donate it. That is a possibility, but we don't really want to donate anything else in our deck. I think we're just better off with cantrips and ways of finding these things. It's probably where I would want to be on that one. But yeah, deck performed better than I was expecting. We had some really fun times. The sideboard was okay. We could probably tweak it to have more appropriate stuff, but I think if we're binning this off, the deck's going to look quite different. But I would like to try and formulate what this would look like in blue-black. If you have the time and the inclination, obviously we don't need the tower here either if we're doing that. But if you have the inclination to try and build a blue-black version of this, by all means, send me a list. Because this was a blast to play, and I am very grateful to the donor, not just for supporting the channel and helping me financially, but they gave me a real spicy one that was an absolute wonderful time, as I'm sure you agree. Alright, we're done for today, so please remember to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths, as well as 3 tiers of support. A low-cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month, as well as regular articles, and lastly, the higher tier gives you all of the above, as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.